y'all, welcome back to another episode of Ink and Overalls. I'm Dedra and I'm so glad that you could join me here today. I am out in our front garden where we are in the process of putting in some new beds and some new things out here. And I wanted to plant a little herb garden out here today, and I wanted to show you guys how I'm going to do it, what I'm going to do, and what I'm putting in it. So I was looking, when I was looking into this, because I wanted to do a video for you guys, and I looked into buying like pots and containers and different things, and I looked at prices. And I found these. These are, I believe they're 2x2 round galvanized beds. They're open on the bottom, so just raised beds. I got a 2-pack of these for like $39.99. And as far as price goes, you can't beat that, okay? I have these, I've had these for a while. These are 4x2s. These are super sturdy, super nice. I got these from Amazon also. But I've had these already. I really wanted to do like a small raised bed situation that any of you guys could replicate at home to get your herbs going. And so this is what I came up with as far as the container we're going to use, okay? This is a perfect little container to go. Of course, it needs to be on top of, you know, grass, your ground, something like that. If you were on concrete, you could probably use it and make sure it was really full for more shallow rooted things, but it's really great for just out here in the garden. Like I said, really they come to like 20 bucks each, and you can barely buy like a nice size pot for that, and our stuff is going to be way better in here than it would have done in a different container. So they'll have plenty of room to spread out and plenty of room to plant whatever I want in here, okay? So I stopped at the garden center a while ago and bought some herbs in general, and most of these I'm going to put in here, not all of them. I'm just going to run down what I have. I have some sweet basil here. I start most of my basil from seed, but it's all very tiny right now, and so I just went ahead and bought this little container of basil. So we're putting the sweet basil in. I have rosemary. This isn't just any rosemary. This is actually creeping rosemary, one of my favorite kinds. So instead of upright rosemary, obviously will grow upright into like more of a bush type habit. This is going to creep, it's going to crawl, and so it'll be really nice to put like on the outside of our bed, and because it's going to have plenty of room to kind of grow over the side if we wanted to, and it smells amazing. This is thyme, lemon thyme, so that's going to go in there. I have some sage that I'm putting in here, and then they didn't have any oregano at the nursery. I know this looks sad, y'all, but this is just some oregano I dug up from a very healthy plant that I have in my other herb garden. And I am just going, I'll show you, it's rooted here, and it was starting to grow like a new little system here. And so I'm just going to plant this and hope for the best. If it doesn't work out, it's not the end of the world. Like I said, I have some established already on the property in a different location. But just so you guys will kind of see, I mean, I would definitely recommend adding oregano to this mix of herbs if you could. I also purchased some mint while I was there. I purchased orange mint, and I think this is just sweet mint, yeah. Sweet mint while I was there, and I am going to plant this, but I'm going to put this in my green stalk containers because, as I said in my herb video, if you haven't watched that, you can go back and check it out. I talked about mint. Mint is a wonderful, wonderful herb, but mint is very much a bully. It will take over any container you put it in if it's healthy and if it's cared for, and so I want this to be healthy and cared for, and so I'm not going to go against what I recommend. I'm going to put this in its own container somewhere. Mint is a very valuable herb. It's a wonderful one, but these two guys actually would do better if they had like their own little area, because that way they could take off and run wild and do what they wanted to without endangering any of these guys. Okay, so for the purposes of this video, herbs, mint is a wonderful one, but mint, you may want him to hang out in a little pot beside your other stuff, okay? So I have filled this bed with just a dirt, like a garden mix that I use for all of my raised beds this time of year. It's called Dan's Dirt. I can get it at a local, at a garden center. It's not too far from me, in bulk, like by the scoop, like tractor scoops full. So that's what these beds are filled with. And so I have just kind of wet it down a little bit and gotten it ready to plant today, and that is what we're going to do. So if you watched my herb video already, then you know that each of these plants, I didn't really talk about sage much, but Each of these other things, I talked about them, and I talked about how they can be used both in cooking and for medicinal purposes. That's the good thing about herbs, is usually they're very multi-purpose, and I strongly recommend growing them even if you don't want to use them in the kitchen. Even if you just want them, like if you don't know what you're like, oh, I'll never use them for medicine and I don't want to use them in the kitchen, I still say grow them, because they are excellent, especially if you mix them. Now, this is an herb garden, so we're like specifically putting just herbs in here, but if you mingle these guys, not bullies like the mint family, but things like this, you can intermingle with all of your other vegetables and things like that, and they're going to help deter pests. They're going to help with the overall health of your garden, and I just can't say enough good things about. I mean, they're just nice to walk by and just smell them, like just rake your fingers across them, and it's just so nice. And they're aromatic, and they're beautiful, and they're easy to grow. So, all right. So the way we're going to set this up, usually, I'm trying to see how tall this guy's going to get. Okay. Usually basil, I find my basil gets really high, really tall. I have pinched this basil though, so whenever I bought this, it was a taller start, and then I just kind of pinched it off below a couple of, like right above, like a little set of true leaves. That encourages the plant to kind of bush out a little bit more, and instead of just growing straight up, and it just looks prettier. I like it that way. So I don't always pinch them, but I pinched this one. It's looking like out of these guys, my sage is going to be the tallest that I have. Yeah, the rest of these are pretty low growing. So the sage and the basil are going to kind of be the two that want to kind of get taller. So I'm going to kind of put these guys here. This one kind of wants to kind of spill. It's good at that. This one kind of is good at kind of overflowing. And this guy, if he survives, is also one that kind of will run on like real low to the ground. And that's the oregano. And so I'm going to put that there. So we're going to get these in the ground real quick. And then I have a couple of, these are just some little nasturtium that I started from seed in the greenhouse. And I needed somewhere to stick them. Nasturtium is it's an edible flower. It's really beautiful. This is like a variegated nasturtium. It does not like heat a lot, so these guys, I may get a few blooms out of them, and then they'll probably peter out whenever the heat gets consistently above about 90 every day. But they still need a place to live, and they're going to live here for now. All right, so that's what I'm planting. And then I'm also, I was going to say, I'm going to put a couple seeds in here too. Some yarrow, because yarrow is a great medicinal herb, and it's tall and it's pretty, and it'll blossom and bloom and be pretty. It's going to go in the very center. I'm going to put some seeds for yarrow, and then in the little spaces around the edges that aren't filled in with plants, or I don't think will be, I'm going to put a couple of marigold seeds, because marigolds are also a good pest deterrent, and they just look beautiful growing alongside all these pretty green things. Okay, give me a little color in here. So I'm going to start with my rosemary. It's pretty. It's just one plant in here, so I don't have to separate it or anything. And I'm just going to put it in here, just dig a little hole, and just make sure it's wide enough and deep enough. And put it in. Okay. There's that guy. And then we're going to do the same with the basil. We're going to let him hang out here. So let's put her there. And actually, I'll show you, this is one thing about if you're going to buy starts from a garden center, pay attention, because sometimes you can get more than one plant out of it. Because like this guy, it doesn't look like much, but it has these growing on it, and it's a healthy little plant. So this, and then especially right here, just gently kind of dividing this guy. You can do the same thing with tomatoes and peppers, but see, I'm getting several plants out of that one that I purchased from the garden center instead of just like one. So I will actually probably put these in a couple of different places in here. That one I broke. But this is a good plant all by itself. Hey, baby. Hey, baby. I can plant that there. This healthier, bigger one, I'm going to put it kind of here. And then I'm actually going to stick this fella back here, because on the edge of this bed. Because if he survives, he can kind of spill that way and be pretty in that bed. Okay? Then I'm going to take the sage and get it in here. I love sage. It's a beautiful, beautiful plant. I don't ever use it in the kitchen, really. I know a lot of people do, but I just think it's pretty. And then my poor little I'm telling y'all though, I will update. I think it's going to be okay. If I can figure out the best way to put this in the ground. I don't know. Okay, just like that. I'm just going to do that. Hope for the best. Okay. Say a little prayer over it. And then my thyme. Put that in there. And she'll go here. Y'all see I abandoned my gloves back there. Just get your hands in the dirt. It'll be okay. Alright. So now, I'm going to put my little nasturtiums here. One little fella here to kind of spill over the side. These run. They do like kind of vine a little bit. Not a lot. Not like something like a squash or something would. But they do kind of go their own way a little bit. So I'll put one here. Okay. And then I'm going to put my seeds in. So just a few little seeds. I'm sorry I'm looking down a lot, but I'm working, guys. It's not that I don't want to look at you beautiful people. Alright, so, but yeah, don't forget the little tip I said. Like if you're in the store looking for plant starts, if you can find them that have more than one in there and it looks like you could separate them, you get more bang for your buck that way. It's a much better way of spending your money. Now yarrow seeds are super tiny, guys. We don't have any rain coming in the next few days, so I'm going to take a chance and put these guys in directly. I do have some started in my greenhouse, but I'm always trying to get some yarrow established because I have so much trouble with it. So I'm just going to sprinkle those there. And then I'm going to put a few of these little marigold seeds around the side here. And we'll be good to go. We'll have our little garden planted. Just that quickly. And like I said, you can't beat these things for $20 a piece. They're amazing. For sure. Okay. And that, guys, is it. It is just that simple to start a garden. Now, like, you know, you go out there, you get one of these, you fill it up with a couple bags of soil, you stick some plants in it, you're a gardener. I mean, it's really that simple. I used to really stress about planting herbs. I used to stress about who needs more water, who needs more sun, who needs this, who needs that. I don't find that to be really worth worrying about too much. I just kind of plant them and let them grow. I will say basil, most of these are frost tolerant. So even if we get another light freeze, which I think we will, these are not going to be harmed by that. The basil will. But what I'll do is I'll probably just keep this and I'll just like take like a little paper towel and put it in there and just do that like the night it's going to be a light frost, and that's enough protection for these because it's not going to get that cold here where I'm at in South Mississippi. Alright, so that is all that I have to say about that for today, I guess. I thank you guys for joining me. I'm super excited to be back hanging out with you, and I hope that you'll join me again next week on Monday. I'm on Wally Media Group on YouTube, and then you can find me across social media on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook at Streamwater Farm. And until the next time, I hope that you can find the beauty wherever you are, and that you have a wonderful day. Thanks. And I almost forgot one of the most important parts, the cute things. So my sweet mother bought me these last year, and I didn't have a chance to use them. Of course, you could always use, if you need to label your plants, but you may not even need to do that, the tags that come with are fine. But my mom bought me these, and I had not really used them yet, so I wanted to put them in here because they're so cute. Isn't that just happy? Look at that. Okay, I don't have one for oregano, but that's okay. And then I found this little guy at Dollar Tree. I was just going to slip him in there. Look how cute it is. Alright guys, until next time.